All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Harpoon Brewery, and they're out of both Boston, Massachusetts and Windsor, Vermont, and this is their Dunkin Jelly Donut IPA. So they are calling this one a slightly hazy IPA that is brewed with Dunkin Donuts and raspberry puree with natural and artificial flavors and artificial colors added. Comes in at 5.7% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This can is just over 5 weeks old. So this is another beer from their Dunkin Dozen mixed 12-pack that I picked up. And I'm kind of nervous about this one for a lot of reasons. Number one, it's a slightly hazy IPA that's brewed with donuts, raspberry puree, and then the whole natural and artificial flavors and artificial colors. It's like, I don't know. Is any of that stuff really necessary, especially the artificial flavors and colors? I'm just not a fan of that. But yeah, so I believe they're using Dunkin Donuts. I don't know if they're like using their jelly donuts or if they're just using like a plain donut or whatever, but they're using raspberry puree. And I believe they are, the hops in this one are Huell Melon and Citra. So yeah, anyway, we'll see how this one is. Just over 5 weeks old, not super fresh, but it's been in my fridge ever since I picked it up. When I picked it up, it was like a week and a half old. So sit on this one for a little bit, give it a pour and see. So yeah, for something that you has raspberry puree, like, I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, it has, somewhat of a reddish tinge to it. I don't know how that's going to come off on camera. But it kind of just looks like a hazy IPA. It's like this burnt orange color, murky, turbid. Has about a finger of this off-white, creamy colored, or creamy looking head, but the color is off-white. But yeah, it has like a little bit of like a red tinge to it, like a pink tinge, but you're using raspberry puree and any artificial colors and stuff, I would hope it would be redder than this. Oh, so that's... Are they not using lactose in this? I don't... Like, there's a ton to my nose, like a ton of vanilla. Or like a, vanilla frosting that you get like on a frosted jelly donut or something. Yeah, I mean, it has a pastry smell to it. It honestly kind of smells like smells kind of like a frosted jelly donut. A little bit of hoppiness there. Like there's this little citrus thing going on. Like a little bit of a like orange grapefruit kind of rind. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it smells, pastry-esque, but it has a little bit of like a, not chemical, but more of like just the artificial type of nose to it. You're kind of... It sucks that I would like to see this without all that stuff. Just give me the donuts and the raspberry puree with the hops. It doesn't smell bad. It just smells a little bit fake. Anyway, let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. That's cool. But then it's weird. All over the place. So the first thing I noticed on the palate is it legit to a T tastes like the jelly-filled center of a jelly donut. Like, without question. It's that flavor. Probably where the artificial comes in and like the natural flavors and whatnot. That jelly or whatever they're using probably isn't 100%, natural. So that's what hits me right at the tip of the tongue. And then after that, I get a little bit like this vanilla kick that kind of reminds me of the pastry. It's, of the donut itself, like the frosting. But then after that, there's this weird, like, hoppy, like, just citrus peel bitterness that kind of hits. And it's fucking strange after that. It devolves into something really weird. Body on this one's like higher side of light body, lower side of medium, 5 for 5.7%. The mouthfeel is typical of like just a regular IPA. Maybe a little bit more soft and smooth, but it's, spritzy. It has a good carbonation to it. It's fine. The body mouthfeel are fine. Man, I almost wish they did like I almost wish they did a blonde ale for this or something like that. Because I don't like the hop bitterness with that pastry-esque donut kind of feel to it. I feel it kind of becomes disjointed and kind of separates into two separate flavors that aren't ideal for my palate. Like right at the forefront, that jelly donut, especially the raspberry-filled jelly donut character, hits me. And then the vanilla frosting kind of hits. But on the back of the palate, I'm left with this semi-dry, mild to moderately bitter citrus peel. It's like mostly it's like a white grapefruit. So it's a little bit more bitter than say like an orange or something like that. This isn't overly sweet either. Like at the forefront, sure, you get that the jelly donut kind of flavor, but it doesn't at any point become too sweet for my palate. It's really dry and moderately bitter on the back of the palate. I don't hate this. I mean, I'll be able to drink the rest of the can. I just think it's disjointed to some degree, and I'm not a huge fan of it. I really like their Dunkin' Coffee Porter. I enjoy their Dunkin' Pumpkin. This is the second one. Dunkin' Pumpkin, I believe. Why did I say Dunkin' Pumpkin? It's not Dogfish yet. It's not Pumpkin now. They're Dunkin' Pumpkin. And I still have their Boston Cream Stout to do. This one, though, I think misses the mark for what I would like, but it's not terrible. So I'm going to give Dunkin Jelly Donut IPA from Harpoon a low 3.25 out of 5. I'm going to go 3.2 out of 5. I think that's a fair score. If the front of the taste of the palate carried on throughout the entire palate, and then there was a little bit of like a bitterness or something to break up the monotony of the sweetness, I'd be fine. But the fact that like the first third of the palate is that Dunkin' Jelly Donut vibe, and then the rest of the palate is like this citrus bitterness and semi-dry finish. Again, that could be my fault going in this one. It says Jelly Donut IPA. I just think a beer like this would work better as like a based blonde ale, or if they just call it a generic ale and you're not looking to kind of, I'm not saying they're kind of trying to capitalize on the IPA acronym. What I'm saying is that probably sounds cool for some. Jelly Donut IPA, right? Like that sounds cool. Doesn't sound as cool as probably as a Jelly Donut blonde ale. But I think the blonde ale base or something similar to that would work way better than IPA. But that's just my own personal opinion. 3.2 out of 5 for this one. Price and availability. Availability, wherever you see Harpoon stuff. At this point, by the time I post this review, probably early November, and these beers are probably like 6 to 7 weeks old. But you should be able to still find these at some place. They're still hanging around here in Western New York. So if you get Harpoon and you want to try some of these out, pretty fun. And plus the price point isn't bad. $17 a 12-pack, like for 4 different Harpoon and Dunkin' collaborations, and you get 3 of each. I think that's a pretty good deal. So price and availability, pretty solid. Yeah, 5.7%, you can't really tell, but you don't expect to. At this point in my life, if I get a beer that's like under 6%, I taste alcohol, then I don't know. It just doesn't happen too much anymore. So yeah, I'm kind of disappointed by this one. But again, I kind of knew it could go this way, and I'm not totally surprised by it, but kind of disappointed. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.